Well, Deontay, fighting is a part of who he is. Like, you know what I mean? We got 2025 coming up, so we'll see how he feel. But right now, I just talked to him last night. He's feeling good about life. He's dealing with recovery over some physical issues he's had to take care of. So now he have the time. You know, we came up short in that fight, but life has went on, and he has, you know, just had certain surgeries he needed done, certain recoveries he needed to do. And we'll see what 2025 look like. But fighting is a part of him, so Deontay will fight again.
Yeah, people don't really think about the wear and tear that goes into boxing, and in between fights, you know, you tend not to recover properly, take care of yourself because the next thing is coming. You don't want to be recovering from an injury. You want to be in camp.
Yes.
So is it possible that this layoff, if a return is imminent, could bring a better Wilder than we saw last time out?
Yeah, most definitely, because even though while he's laying off now, like I said, he's been recovering. Last night he was on the weight circuit. He was lifting some weights. He's been doing some boxing, not at the level we do when we're in training camp, but he's been keeping himself fresh. But, you know, to turn the coin on that at the same time, we on the second half of his career. You know, so a long layoff wouldn't do him the same type of justice as it would have done before. So, you know, it's about crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and it's like at times it's about which one, picking out the best of the worst sometimes. And I say that meaning like, okay, I've done what I had to do in this game. I became heavyweight champion. I lost 2 fights back to back, so now I want to take off. But taking off is not good for, you know, my fighting, for me to stay busy. That wouldn't be beneficial to me. So if I'm him, I will be doing exactly what he's doing right now, resting, being heavy into real estate, and focusing on 2025 on the comeback, because, you know, he will fight again.
Fortunately, the way the boxing world is working, especially now,
the
game moves fast, and the heavyweight division is impacted with talent and
it's
opportunity.
Always coming through. Yes,
it's always coming through.
Yes,
there's no secret that His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh is a big fan of the heavyweight division, so he seems to stay focused on keeping those fighters active and keeping the matchups coming, which bodes well for those at the upper echelon, which I think Deontay Wilder still is in that mix. He's still a one knockout punch fighter. He's still got potential matchups that people want to see. But since his last fight, the table has definitely gotten shuffled.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let me take you back just a month ago to the Joshua Dubois fight.
Absolutely.
Which, by all accounts, was a major upset. Everybody thought Josh was going to come through, that he was going to be probably facing Fury next, and all this. Everything kind of got tossed out the window.
Yeah.
But for me, that leaves the door open still, even all these years later, all these fights in between, for Joshua Wilder. I think that's as exciting to me, especially if it comes before the summer of next year. Like instead of Joshua Fury, if Joshua Wilder be able to make maybe first half of 25, that's more exciting to me than Joshua Fury.
Yeah, well, I was about to say to me too, but obviously I'm the head trainer, so I would say that. But not being a cliche, look at my previous interviews. I've always been very high and keen on Joshua and Deontay sharing the ring together. I still can't even fathom the fact that they haven't fought each other in this long time. 2 dynamic heavyweights in our time, and now we're going into another time, and they still haven't shared the ring with each other. That's the sad part about boxing, but at the same time, that's where you have to give Turki his credit at, because I think if anybody has been willing to make the fight happen, and the strongest route has been him. But at the same time, the fighters got to do their part and win certain fights to make the fight happen. And unfortunately, we came up short at a time Joshua came up good. And that fight was supposed to happen, but we lost to Joseph Parker and Joshua beat Otto Wallen. So the way how things happen in boxing, like I always say, it's like a Z. Nothing is never parallel, so it's one of those things.
Now, having experienced everything that you've gotten through with the Wilder corner and everything that you've seen Joshua go through, how has this matchup changed from what it would have been to what it could be?
Very good question, Radio. Very good question, because I'm going to tell you why it's a good question first, because you asking that according to the circumstance. right? And the circumstances have changed, and it just have. Both have lost, both have got knocked out, and both are older right now. So then if I were to look at it, I would look at it like, well, who's more susceptible to get hit and who take the best shot? I think it comes down to that now. And we all know who punches the hardest. And in my opinion, Deontay has a better chin than AJ. But I think AJ put together punches better than Deontay, combination-wise. Like, even if he missed, he's not out of his base. I was very, very surprised that the way he went about going to go for the finish against Dubois, because he's never really, to me, just led with a right uppercut like that. There's times like I've seen him lead with hooks and things like that, but I was very surprised he did it that way. And I think like overcommitting like that against Deontay is where you meet your fate, because that's his specialty, and that's definitely my specialty as a head trainer. I love when I can get fighters to overcommit and then my guy makes them pay. So I still would pick Deontay by knockout. But it's such an intriguing fight still. I still would, if I was a fan of it like I am, I still would pay to go see it. It's a blessing I would be a part of it. But either way, I want them to go share the ring.
What do you ascribe that decision to? Because you're not the first or the only one who was surprised that is what Joshua chose to do with what seemed to be such a classic kind of boxing mistake, to lead with an uppercut. Your left hand is down. Dubois is able to counterpunch with the straight right hand. Like, all of these things, of course, in hindsight seem obvious.
Yes.
But maybe in the moment, what would make that a good idea? Why do you think he chose to take that route?
The peculiar thing about this fight is, one, I want to say I'm extremely, extremely proud of Don Charles. That's for starters. The minute that Dubois won, I have no problem with Dubois, nothing like that, but I immediately thought of Don Charles, and I was extremely happy for him, because as a fighter and as a trainer, I watched him come through the rankings, and pay his dues and really, really take the good and bad in this noble art. So for him to get a heavyweight champion on his time, on that night against Anthony Joshua, all respect to Don Charles, I want to say that. Now, coming from a technical standpoint, I don't see how anybody besides Dubois' team would have picked Dubois if we're going off of latest fights. I counted myself 14 to 17 right hands he got hit with by Malik Scott in the first 6 minutes of the fight. I thought it was humanly impossible for someone to beat Joshua that get hit with that many right hands. But was I wrong? And that's the sexy thing about the sport. You could film study it, you could see it. Fighters can make mistakes, fighters could do this, but on the night it's about who could put it together. And on the night, it wasn't just Dubois' technicalities. It wasn't just his strong power. It was the morale he had behind his whole system. His walk to the ring, the taste of the music, it probably was okay, but his demeanor, he came to take charge. He came to take over, and he came to put fear in his presence on AJ immediately. And I believe AJ felt that immediately, because he chose to disengage right off the rip. He didn't choose to stand some ground and get some respect back. You got to give credit to Don Charles, Dubois' dad, Daniel Dubois, the man who did the job. And it's just one of them things that make heavyweight boxing very exciting, because if I had to pick, I picked AJ to win between, 4 and 7, whatever I did. And I was wrong. But I enjoy being wrong on things like that, because it's more educating for me. It lets me know that you never could be as sure in this boxing game, especially in the heavyweight division. So it was a good night for the heavyweight division as far as I'm concerned.
The big question.